So apparently, some of you think I'm a girl. I get it. The name doesn't help, and my hands might be a little too elegant. To be real, people these days kind of think art is a girl thing. Even my friends say that sometimes. But yeah, just to clear things up, I'm a guy. Anyways, let's talk about where this whole journey began. I believe every kid at some point in their life had a piece of paper and a pencil in front of them. They scribbled something completely random and heard their parents say, "Wow, that's amazing." And honestly, I was no different. I drew all the time, page after page, line after line, and to my mom, every single one of them was a masterpiece. Trust me, I know, but those words really got into me. However, that's not how I got into art, or at least I wouldn't call it that turning point. Actually, I didn't have a turning point at all. There wasn't a single moment in my life when I thought to myself that this is for me. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, or at least for now. I would say it was a point in my life where I honestly just had nothing better to do. Not very romantic, I know, but it's the truth. It wasn't like I chose art or that art chose me. It was more like, why not? Let's just give it a shot. So I joined an art class, and after a month, I was convinced I could draw anything. I felt like a real artist. That's the funny thing about starting something new. You get this rush and this confidence. You dive in, and suddenly you feel invincible, like you unlocked some secret talent. But the more I drew, the more reality kicked in. Slowly, painfully, I started looking around at my classmates, at my teacher, at the insane level of skill around me, and it hit me hard. Took me long enough, but eventually I admitted how bad I was. It was right in my face. The lack of skill, the lack of experience, the lack of knowledge. It was like I knew nothing. And I know a lot of you have felt this way, but for me, it just hollowed me out. I felt empty, small, and that was excruciatingly painful. And eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. So I did whatever any teenage boy would probably do in my place: quit. Yeah, I completely stopped. I stopped drawing, sketching. I even stopped thinking about art. I know earlier I said I don't really believe there was a single turning point in my life, but if there was one, I think it would be right around a year later, and it felt magical. About a year later, I just started again, almost unconsciously. Nothing serious, nothing planned. I just found myself sketching and drawing again, like it was the most natural thing in the world. However, I didn't go back to my class. I didn't even tell my parents or my siblings about it. It was just me, alone in my room, drawing for hours, sketching until late at night, waking up early just to continue. And honestly, I loved it. There was something so pure about it, sitting in silence, creating something out of nothing. That thought, that feeling was so beautiful to me. I wanted to get better, so I started watching YouTube tutorials. I would type things like how to draw eyes, how to draw faces, how to shade, and just watch and learn. It wasn't easy, but by then, if there was one thing I learned, it was that nothing happens overnight. You don't just snap your fingers and suddenly become an artist. It takes time, it takes patience, and sometimes it takes a lot of frustration. Whenever I felt unable to do something, that's exactly what I forced myself to face. If I couldn't draw noses, then that's all I would draw for the next few hours, over and over again. And instead of running away from it, I faced it. I faced my fears and I overcame them. And slowly things started to change. I could actually draw anything. In the span of the last 10 years, I tried almost everything: graphite, charcoal, color pencil, watercolor, oil, you just name it. Apart from everything I tried, I think I kind of mastered realism with graphite and charcoal, and I got pretty good with oil painting. However, there's so much more I need to learn. For the longest time, I was convinced that art was something that required talent, something you're born with. Now, after a decade of drawing, failing, learning, and growing, I can confidently say that's not how it works. Nothing magically happens overnight unless you get up and work for it. It's a process, one that takes time, patience, and constant learning. And I think that's the whole point of life. If you want something, you have to work for it. You don't just wake up one day and start speaking French. No, you study it, you practice it, you make mistakes, but you don't stop. It may take a year or maybe 10, but that's something only you and time can decide. Lucky are those who love what they do and they do what they love. And I think that's what made me fall in love with art even more. I wasn't chasing some grand destination. I wasn't trying to become the next Picasso. It wasn't about showing off to my peers or impressing someone by saying, hey, I can draw your eyes. It was about me, about my passion, about doing what I learned to love. Now, when I look back, I know my path could have been so different. There are like 1,000 different versions of me that could have existed, and every single one of them would have turned out to be completely different from this. But this is me. This is what I've become. And they always say that God works in mysterious ways, and I guess that's true because that's exactly how it happened for me. I didn't force it. Nobody pushed me into it. It just came naturally, like it was quietly meant to be. And I guess that's how fate works. I'm still very young, and there's so much more that I want to explore and experience. Honestly, I've always had this tendency that I don't want to be tied or trapped by just one thing. I don't want a single word to be able to define me, like artist. I want to live, I want to explore, I want to experience everything this life has to offer: the adventure, the unknown, the unexpected. And whatever the future may hold for me, whatever else I may become, I'm just happy that I can sit down sometimes, pick up a pencil, and just draw. And that, I think, is freaking awesome. In the spirit of being spontaneous and having fun with life, I started this YouTube channel. Honestly, if you had asked me back then what the plan was or where I saw myself a year from now, I wouldn't have had a clear answer. I just wanted to create, share, and see where it would take me. But over time, it became something much bigger than I ever imagined. It's still crazy to think that there are more than 10,000 of you here. So now, if you ask me what this channel is about, I would have to think very deeply. I would say it's a space where people from all over the world can come together, learn, and be inspired through art. Seliora art isn't just about me showing what I can do, it's about creating a safe space, a genuine connection, and reminding people that creativity belongs to everyone. Whether you're a beginner, an artist, or someone just looking for inspiration, there's always something here for you. Every comment, every message, every bit of encouragement fuels me to keep going, to keep improving, and to keep creating something meaningful. So, in the spirit of fun, creativity, and connection, I am opening the community section here on YouTube for all of you. You can share your art, your progress, your creations, whether they're from my tutorials or your own ideas. This channel, this journey, it's only possible because of you. So thank you. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.